2 million in the past 30 days on the Shopify dropshipping store. Let me get a quick refresh so you guys can see. This brand has been going crazy. We've been running it for a little bit, and as you can see, we've been almost doing 100k days pretty consistently. So this brand has been super good for us. I'll even go to the payouts just so you guys can see all of this is legit. But yeah, this brand is a TikTok shop product that I've taken from CalData. And of course, this isn't just your normal pump and dump CalData product. This is a brand we've turned to be pretty consistent, and we have our own content, our own team, everything. So I'm basically going to walk you guys through how exactly I found the product, how I took it off the ground, and most importantly, how I turned it into a brand that's self-sustaining and that just doesn't rely off ripped content like these other guys do. You'll see a lot of these guys will have a product, it'll take off. If they'll get lucky, they'll do 6, even 7 figures. But the thing is, they don't know how to hold that scale. They don't know how to hold that revenue coming in because their creative dies and everything just goes down. I think this brand is sitting at about like a 20% profit margin, give or take. But really, guys, you can make a lot of money with dropshipping. So I'm going to tell you guys how to actually develop systems where you can maintain revenue and actually maintain consistent profit margin coming in every single month. So for how I found this product, as most of you guys probably already know, CalData, I'll always preach it. Again, CalData always has such a bad reputation because people think, oh yeah, it's just ripped videos, TikTok shop, they'll run up a store and it'll just die down. No guys, that's not all this is. I'm going to be telling you guys how to actually build systems to go beyond that and actually make it your own product rather than somebody else's. But right now, let's actually talk about what criteria I specifically used. And of course, guys, I'm not going to just tell you, oh yeah, problem solving and all that stuff, but there's more to it. So let me pull up a quick example. This product right here is not my product, but this is an example of a product that would scale that quickly as mine did. And this is a vibration plate. As you can see here, in the past 30 days, it did 1 million. And as well, on Meta, on paid ads, it also did 1 million the first month. So as you guys can see, this product is pretty visual. And if you don't know, it's basically just a vibration plate that makes you lose weight. So someone who wants to lose weight, if they want to lose weight and they see this ad, they're like, oh wow, all this girl does is stands. And as you can see, the vibration plate is making her move and she's down 8 pounds, right? So from a fat person's perspective, you're like, oh shit, this is an easy solution, right? Like everybody loves easy solutions, and this pretty much gives that to you. So super visual in a really passionate niche, right? Like fat people, all that stuff, they want to lose weight, super emotional niche. And it literally explains itself. So a product like this is really, really good, and it's what's going to be the easiest to scale up. And the product that I ran up that did 2 million in the past 30 days meets this criteria. Super visual, passionate niche, and easy to build trust. Whereas some other products, right? So for example, this one right here, this is another product that also did 1 million a month on paid ads as well as TikTok shop. But you're probably wondering, what is the difference between this and this? So this is basically just a supplement. It's basically for also weight loss. That's why I kind of brought this up. It's basically a patch you put on your arm and it kind of suppresses your appetite. And at the surface level, right, it's kind of visual, right? It's just a patch you put on your arm. Arm, stomach, whatever. It's a patch you put on your arm. It's in a passionate niche. But the problem is you don't really know if it actually works. In the vibration plate, right, you can see the actual movement. To fat people, it looks like they're exercising. You see the body moving, all that stuff. This is literally just a fucking sticker. I could literally give you a pimple patch and be like, oh yeah, this is going to make you lose weight. Are you going to believe me? Probably not. So for that same reason, when you try and sell something like this, especially if you're a beginner, you might struggle a lot because you're going to have to experiment with a lot of ads, experiment with landing pages. I'll tell you guys this right now. This might be a little advanced, but for something like this, you definitely need like a pre-lander and advertorial. So this is kind of an example of like why this product is difficult. You're going to have to do some shit like this where you send the traffic to this advertorial landing page, and that's going to basically educate them saying, hey, even though this little pimple patch looking thing is so simple, it'll actually work and it'll give you all the scientific information. It'll give you everything so you trust it. Whereas with this, you can just send them to the product page and they'll be like, oh shit, let me buy it. This requires a lot more educating. And because products like this require so much testing, so many different things to build trust, different ads, different landing pages, the product that I scaled to 2 million in 30 days, it wasn't as complex as this. I've scaled products like this to 7 figures as well. It's not that big of a deal. But the previous brand that I showed you, the 2 million in 30 days one, that one scaled really quickly and was really easy to scale because super visual, super easy to build trust, and it just didn't require as much work. Whereas something like this can easily scale to multi-millions a month, but it won't scale as quickly. And that's purely because you're gonna have to test out different landing pages, test out different ads, see what builds that trust. It's a great product. Again, super passionate niche, you know, it's visual, but again, the third part, the trust. We don't know if it's going to build that trust and how easy it's going to be to build that trust. So to kind of summarize, when I'm looking for like really S-tier products to run, which was again the store that I showed you, that product met all the criteria that this product met. But this is still a good winning product. It's just it wasn't as good as this one, and that's purely because you're gonna have to test so many different things. Really ask yourself, guys, if you're a fat person, do you trust that some stupid sticker is gonna suppress your appetite? Probably not. So again, you know, you guys have probably seen this multiple times on my channel, but let's just kind of go over the criteria again and like how it's all a spectrum and what makes like an S tier product versus like a B tier product versus an F tier product, right? So of course we have all these criterias. So problem solving, right? You know, you want it to solve a problem, you want to have passion within that niche. Visual, of course, right? Like I said, when you see the product actually working in real time, it makes it easy to sell. It builds that trust, right? Even though the patches I showed you were visual, it didn't really build the trust because you don't see the effects of it in real time. Whereas the vibration plate, you might not see the effects of it in real time, but you see something that builds trust. You see the body moving. You know, that's exercise to people. So that builds that trust and makes it easy to sell. And of course, COGS, you want to make sure that you have like a 3-4x markup. You want to make sure it's not too heavy where it can't ship. Virality, you know, you want to make sure it's not something that they just see at Target, you know. You want to make sure that it's something that is like, whoa, like a scroll stopper, like what the fuck is this? And the next thing is TAM, right? Like that's basically your total addressable market. That just kind of says who your buyer pool is. So a big TAM would be something that has a lot of potential buyers, something like weight loss, right? Because it's a huge problem people deal with. And to give you an example of like a small TAM, right? A small total addressable market, it could be something overly specific. Maybe something designed for like a certain type of plant for a gardener or something. That's too small to sell on paid ads. That's not going to work. You need to have a bigger target audience. But another example of like a smaller TAM that could work is like book readers, for example. Like there's another small TAM that actually works because even though it's a little smaller than like someone trying to lose weight, it works because it's super passionate. Even though it's a little niche down, it's super passionate. Book readers love to buy books. They love to buy anything related to books. So if you sell like something related to that, even though it's a little smaller than people trying to lose weight, right, which is way better, way bigger, it's still super passionate. So being able to understand what is a good, what is a bad TAM is super, super important. I've seen a lot of beginners try and sell super niche down products that are just fucking useless that people won't really consistently buy. So all these things that we talked about, right, it's all a spectrum. So the patches I showed you are really good. Let's go down the checklist. Solves a problem. It's visual, but it's not that visual, right? You don't build that trust. COGS are great, super cheap. It's just fucking pimple patches. It's like stickers. Virality is great because you're saying there's a sticker that suppresses your hunger, and there's a huge, huge TAM. So great, right? But with the vibration plate, the one I showed you at first, problem solving, visual, you know, the trust, cost of goods, virality, TAM. This literally is an S tier winner. It checks off every single box. The point of me telling you guys this is to not tell you, yeah, every product you sell has to meet every single one of these criteria. It's like, no. The point is that if you want a really, really easy product to sell, and if you're a complete beginner, the closer you are to checking off all these boxes, the easier your experience is going to be. Let's say, for example, you meet this one, this one, this one, this one, but you don't meet this one. Kind of like the patches. You're going to be confused. You're going to be like, yo, I'm getting really good cost per clicks. Like, I'm getting good sessions. I'm getting good add to carts, but nobody's buying. Why? Is something wrong with my site? No, bro. Ask yourself what part of the spectrum are you missing and what's going to allow you to fix it. So again, if you're, for example, not meeting this criteria right here, you don't have the easiness to sell, you don't have that trust, you might need better ads, better landing pages, that type of stuff. Let's say your product really isn't that viral, right? Maybe it's a little boring. That means you might need really good hooks, really good conversion rate, so like offer, all that stuff. You really need to make sure the traffic you're getting is really, really optimized. Okay, let's say your total addressable market's a little small. Let's say it's a little niche down. That's fine. What you have to do instead is make sure your ads are really dialed in, really hitting that avatar, and make sure your offer speaks to that audience really good and they're like, this is a no-brainer, I'm just gonna buy it. Fuck it, let's say your COGS are shit and it's a little too expensive. Okay, then maybe you can ship it to a USA 3PL and do USA fulfillment. There's solutions to everything, but you guys have to understand that you need to apply this spectrum to your respective skill level. If you're a fucking newbie, you're not gonna be able to do this. You're not gonna be able to do this. You might be able to do this, but it's gonna be a little hard. So you want to find things that meet the spectrum based on your skill set. Obviously, I can run a more difficult product. I've done it in the past, but this product that scaled to 2 million a month, It met every single criteria, and that's what allowed it to be a smooth, easy scale. So now, right, you guys are wondering, okay, I have the product, what about the ads? So what actually makes a good ad? I'm not going to tell you guys, okay, just go download this. That's what I said in the past. So I'm going to go into more detail about the specific ads I chose, because I'm not just choosing every fucking ad here, right? I'm trying to choose ads that are getting sales, right? You can see in the past 180 days, it did 240K revenue, but there's certain criteria that I want when I upload these ads. Because sometimes, you know, these ads will be like 10 seconds long. It'll say flash sale 50% off, or it'll be like just text with music. I'm not trying to do that. What's trending right now, guys, is raw testimonial UGC. UGC is user generated content. It's basically just kind of a review of a product that a real person makes. It's not a voiceover. It's not some ad with just music on it. There's more to it. So I'm going to show you guys an example. Let's play this ad real quick.
I started at 146 pounds 2 weeks ago, and I am down 8 pounds. Take it most of that is probably fluid retention weight because I've started using my vibration plate again since my foot is completely healed. I can hardly finish 10 minutes on this thing without having to run to pee. It really activates that lymphatic.
So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but right now I've seen this in so many products. I've seen this everywhere across all my stores. These type of ads, these super long ads that are like a minute, 2 minutes. I literally have an ad that has like 5 minutes of just a girl yapping. That's one of my most winning ads. These longer ads that are like telling a story, like, hey, you know, I was losing weight, you know, she's making it relatable, like, oh yeah, my foot was bad, now I hopped on this to lose weight. Like, it seems like a review. It doesn't seem like someone like, hey, do you want to lose weight? Try out this vibration plate. It's someone who's like, hey, this is my story, I started here, and this is my experience using it.
146 pounds 2 weeks ago, and I am down 8 pounds. Take it most of that is probably fluid retention weight because I've started using my vibration plate again since my foot is completely healed.
So she's throwing these like subtle relatable things, right? Like, okay, I'm losing weight, but it's fluid retention. Like, it's probably just water weight, something relatable. My foot is healed. These subtle characteristics make it more human. So these subtle references, right? Like, oh, my water retention, you know, when people lose weight, the first couple weeks is going to be water weight. She mentions that to make it relatable. She talks about her foot healing. These are such subtle things that just make it more human. It adds a human touch to it. It makes it feel like there's an actual person making an honest review. And that's what's trending right now. These super honest reviews that feel human. Not some ads saying, hey, buy this product. Are you trying to lose weight? This vibration plate will help you. No, super realistic. So when I go look for ads, I try and look for a decent amount of these raw stories. Not every single one of them is going to be them because I want to test out multiple things. I don't want to only just test these raw testimonial UGC stories. I try and look for the majority to be that, but I also try and look for some ads that might be a little bit different. So with those types of story ads, what I do is I go to the video and ad section and I try and find as many of them as I can on the first like 1 or 2 pages. When I launch, I usually launch with about 8 to 12 ads, so I try and make the majority those types of ads. And those are usually the ones that are going to be performing the best. Again, guys, if you don't believe me, just go on TikTok Shop and go look at the top ads. It's probably going to be something like that. And then I'll also mix it in with some shorter ads. You know, I'll throw in some variety. It's not all just going to be those testimonial story videos, but the majority is going to be that. So when you find a calibrated product, it's really important to assess the quality of these ads just to make sure that, you know, they actually make sense. So let's just click on this.
For the people that be saying vibration plates don't work, this is for you. Because not you mad about people getting real.
So obviously, you know, this isn't a testimonial ad and you're probably wondering why this is getting sales. It's because this product's really old. Everyone knows what vibration plates are. So she's trying to make like an ad where it calls it out directly. Like, oh yeah, vibration plates work. I would also include an ad like this just in the mix to say, fuck it, if it works, it works. But I don't want the majority of the ads to be like this. I want the majority to be those testimonial ads. You can throw in a couple of these in the mix because obviously it's performing, it's addressing a huge market, you know, people know what vibration plates are. It's okay to throw ads like this in the mix. But you want the majority to be these super long stories.
Lose a few pounds from using this thing, like, I won't be mad, but that's not why I got it.
Stories like that, it'll work the best. So this is the ad account for the brand. As you can see, 1 million spent in the last 30 days. But you're going to keep it super simple, guys. You're going to have one campaign for each country. So when you're testing, you're only going to start in the US. You're not going to do any other country, only US at first. And as you expand, as you start scaling, you can launch new CBOs, new campaigns for other countries. And that's why there's so many over here. So this is the first campaign that I started with. As you can see, campaign budget. And again, guys, you want to let the AI do its work. You want to use all these Advantage Plus options. You don't want to turn these off. And you want to make sure that you're doing US only. Nothing else, only US at first. And again, guys, as you expand, you can make new campaigns in the same fashion for other countries. So, you know, UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, all that stuff. But at first, you're going to start USA only, take 8 to 12 ads, launch it at $150 a day. It's pretty simple, guys. I've talked about it enough. I'm not going to go too into detail on creating your campaigns and stuff. It's super explanatory. I'm here to kind of give you more advanced information and not some like Jordan Bound bullshit. So honestly, I don't even think Jordan Bound would tell you that. But anyways, let's go into the actual funnel and how an ad account that's spending $1 million a month actually looks. Because obviously you can launch ads and stuff, but there's more to it. There's an actual funnel. There's actual strategy that comes to every ad that's being launched. So right now, as you can see, this is kind of how a typical ad account that's scaling will look like. You have your top of funnel, you have your middle of funnel, and you have your bottom of funnel. And these three things are just going to comprise all of your sales, and this is what you're going to need to actually build out when you're scaling your brand consistently. So your top of funnel is going to be like those UGC videos that I told you, those testimonial stories, those long videos that are just yapping, those super relatable videos that appeal to the masses, right? They're not going to be videos saying, hey, try out this vibration plate if you want to lose weight. That's going to be your middle of funnel. They're going to be more product aware. They're going to be talking about the product. They're going to be kind of like voiceover ads, not as like real, not as like authentic. These are going to be appealing to people who kind of already know about the product, more product aware. You don't have to worry too much about like the human aspect and stuff. Just worry about educating here. Top of funnel is more relatable, right? UGC videos, super long, super human. Middle of funnel is just more so educational, smaller pool of people. Then you have your bottom funnel. These are going to be guys that are aware of your brand, right? These are going to be people that you appeal to with sales, appeal to with like, those music, with text only videos, people who are already educated, people who have already seen these top of funnel videos, but now they just want that extra push. You can have a special sale, you can promote a special offer, and you can usually do this through like static ads especially. That works really well. They might just need to see a little static ad promoting a sale to kind of get that last touch in before they buy. So if we're going to talk about it in a percentage, right, what your ad account is going to be spending, let's say I'm spending 1 millionth a month on ads, 1 million a month. I would say about 700 to 800K a month will go to your top of funnel. Besides that, it'll be about 100K to maybe like 150K on your middle of funnel, and then it'll be, another like 50 to 100K on your bottom funnel. I don't know if these numbers add up, but this is a proportion, right? Like approximately 80% of your spend will go to your top of funnel, another like 10 to 15 to your middle of funnel, and then like whatever, another like 5 to 10 to your bottom funnel. That's what it's going to kind of look like in terms of your ad account spending. And you're probably wondering like, okay, how does it do this? This is just Facebook AI. Facebook AI understands the funnel and understands what makes top of funnel, what makes middle of funnel, what makes bottom of funnel. This is literally how every ad account will look. So let's say it's spending 800K a month on this top of funnel ad right here. And let's say it does this at like a 1.5 or like 1.6 ROAS, return on ad spend. That means if I spend 800K, I'm getting back about 1.2 to 1.4 million in sales. That's still profitable, that's still good, but your goal of these top of funnel ads is not to be like super profitable initially. You don't really need like a 2-3 ROAS. Like that's not what you're trying to hold long term. That's not what matters here. So you're probably wondering, okay, like if I'm 1.5, 1.6 return on ad spend, I'm only making 10% margin. Why is that good? That's because it's a funnel, it's a cone, guys. Your leftovers from here will bleed down into here. Let's say off this, you made like 100K profit or whatever. That's still good, but that's where your middle of funnel and bottom funnel start to shine. Whatever is left over around here, let's say you spent 800K, you got 100K in sales back. You've reached so many people by spending 800K. You've reached millions of people. And even though all those people didn't buy, you made that 100K profit, which is good, right? You're in the green, but now you have these two to back you up. So of those millions of people, only a small percentage of them bought. Let's say like 2% of them bought. You still have those remainders of millions that haven't bought. That's where it bleeds into this. You built that trust right here, right? You built that trust. That's good. Now you want to educate them. So you educate them here. They're like, okay, this is a product. This is why it works. They see a couple of voiceover ads and stuff. And now they actually understand, okay, the product is real. And now here they understand, okay, this is actually how the product works. This is actually going to work in my life. I see how this fits in my life. I'm going to trust the brand and I'm going to purchase. So this one, it might spend 100K, but this is going to spend it at like a 2 to 3 ROAS. So at this point, right, you've built the trust, you've educated them about the product, they just need that last push to kind of purchase. So let's say you spend 50 to 100K on these bottom funnel ads. This shit is going to be like a 3, 4, even like 5 ROAS. Like this is going to be insane because they've went through all of these layers. These are your warmest buyers now. These buyers just need a little push and they'll buy. So again, they have the trust, they have the awareness. Let's say you just tell them, hey, flash sale, there's like an extra 50% off or whatever. That is enough for them. They'll buy. You don't need to, these ads are only going to reach the most qualified people. The top of funnel ads, these ads right here, they're going to reach brand new people who don't know anything about you. These middle funnel ads are going to reach people who've seen the product, they've seen the stories, now they just need a little more education. This shit, bro, this is literally going to reach everyone who's seen all these already. So they're super warm buyers. So these guys are going to buy and will spend towards these ads, and it'll be super, super profitable. So I know this is all over the place, guys, and you're probably wondering what the fuck does this actually have to do with me? So let me tell you, in my ad account, guys, this is kind of exactly what happened. This top of funnel wasn't too profitable. I still made a lot of money, but this is what carried me. And that's what you're going to see. And the reason this is important is because when you run a product from Calidata, when you rip ads and when you do all these things, you're eventually going to die out. Your top of funnel is going to fatigue and you're going to die out. So it's really important. The second you launch with these top of funnel ads and you have a winning product, you start building these things out. And you're probably wondering, how do you do that, right? So, voiceover ads, all this stuff for middle of funnel, static ads for bottom funnel. It's really important to constantly get a circulation of these coming into your ad account because it's super easy to make. With these top of funnel ads, you're gonna have to get UGC, hire creators and stuff. But this shit, bro, you can literally just scrape together clips on TikTok, scrape together images, put a voiceover over it, blah, 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 you're done. The point is, it's super easy to push these middle funnel, bottom funnel ads out at a very high rate. So it's really important to have a consistent system to build out your middle and bottom funnel ads. Okay, now you guys are wondering, okay, that's great. What the fuck do I do for my top of funnel ads? That I'll talk about a bit later, but you need to build a system to get these in as well, but that's a little more complicated. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about creative fatigue and why it's really relevant in top of funnel ads, which are, again, those UGC type of ads. I've talked about this a lot, so I'll keep it pretty brief. So when you launch like a Calidata product and it starts booming, it starts going crazy, you're going to see that you're getting a bunch of sales, blah, 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 everything's going great, right? And then you're going to hit this flat line. And then over time, it's going to start going down and you're going to be in the negatives. You're going to be like, fuck, what do I do? And that is very, very normal, guys. You might not see this as much with the middle funnel and the bottom funnel, right? Because they're not even getting that much spend to begin with. But you need to make sure that your top of funnel isn't hitting this point consistently. Because if it does, think about what happens to your middle funnel or your bottom funnel. It's all gone. All this shit is dependent on your top of funnel right here. So with bottom funnel, like I said, it's super easy to get ads out, right? You just scrape together clips, write scripts, all that stuff. But since top of funnel ads are primarily UGC ads, right? Ads driven by real people telling real stories, it's not a matter of, oh, let me go to TikTok and just download them. No, guys. The whole point of this is you need to get custom content. You need content that's your own because you can only steal videos for so long. Eventually, you're going to run out of them. So with this brand, what we had to do is we had to get custom UGC content that's ours, not no TikTok stolen content because we used all that up. We hit this point. We eventually hit this point where we used up all the TikTok footage. We had to get our own. And of course, that affected our sales. It affected our bottom, middle funnel, all that stuff. And we were like, fuck, we need to go get our own content. So it's really important to go and get your own content so you always have more and more creatives hitting this point. So when one goes down, right, you have another creative coming in and getting spent, so it compensates for that, and you keep that funnel intact. So I'm not going to talk too much about systems to prevent creative fatigue, but these are the 2 hires that you need. It's a very, very thorough and long process, but these are the 2 hires you need. This is probably the most important, but if you're just starting, this is the first thing you would get because it's the cheapest. But your creative strategist is basically your lifeline of your creatives. They're the ones that are truly going to help you get those top of funnel ads. They'll basically be writing scripts, they'll be getting UGC, and they'll be communicating with your video editor. Your video editor, they just edit videos. That's it. They give you the final deliverables. So they'll edit middle funnel ads, they'll edit bottom funnel ads, they'll edit the top of funnel UGC. These guys, they're also very important. So these 2 basically work together to give you a final creative. And you're probably thinking, why do I need this? Why can't I do it myself? When you're scaling a brand that high to multi-millions a month, you are going to have to test. Okay, my brain almost got leaked, but when you're actually spending millions a month, you're gonna have to test like 20 fucking million creatives a month. Obviously not a million, but you're gonna have to be testing like 20, 30, 40 creatives a week. You're not gonna be able to do that yourself. So with that brand, the first thing we got was a video editor. We wrote the scripts, we got the UGC, we got it all ourselves, and we sent it to him, and we're like, you know what, do it. But as time went on, as we're dealing with more creative fatigue, we can't really be doing all that ourselves. We have other shit to worry about, other stores to worry about, and all that stuff. So that's when you made your second hire, your creative strategist. And this is going to be your most highest leverage hire that you can make. You can find them on LinkedIn, Twitter, and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but once you have this hire, they are going to do all the dirty work for you. They're going to write the scripts, they're going to source and write the UGC concepts, they're going to communicate, and they're going to pretty much make your entire creative process hands off. And that's what's super important when you're scaling really, really high. So this whole setup, guys, is going to pretty much make creative fatigue a lot more bearable, because you're always going to have concepts and ads coming into your ad account. You're not going to have to be spending hours doing it yourself, because eventually you're going to get burnt out. The quality of output you're going to have is going to be super little, and your ads are going to die out. But when you have these two hires, you're pretty much going to have like right now we have 20-30 ads coming to us every week, and we just sit there and jerk off. We don't really do anything. So this is what's going to keep that funnel alive. It's super important. The second you get a winning product, you need to kind of get these hires sorted out. First, get your video editor, train them, make sure they know how to edit, then bring your strategist in to kind of put the pieces together and really make it all hands off. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about customer service and like how it's actually important to your brand and how it affected me. I know I talked about this before as well with customer service managers and like having VAs and stuff, but I'll give you a quick rundown. So this is like the kind of hierarchy of your customer service. This is going to be your most important hire, your customer service manager. This is going to be kind of like your overhead that watches over all the VAs, and they just track, their KPIs and stuff, which is basically your key performance indicators. It basically makes sure that the VAs are doing their job rather than just sitting there playing Dota 2 and pretending like they're working. The VAs are the ones that actually do the responses and stuff. These are going to be your first hires because they're super cheap. And once your brand is really growing, you have a lot of tickets and emails coming in, and you can't really track what your VAs are doing because there's so many VAs working underneath you. Then you hire your customer service manager who actually watches over them, gives you reports saying, hey, every week, these are how many tickets are getting answered. Worker 1 is slacking, worker 2 is doing good, all that stuff. So this basically makes your entire customer service also hands off together, all two of these things together, similar to your creative structure. And I'm going to tell you guys with my brand, right? The reason why it's really important is because we had a product quality issue. And this is another really, really important thing as well, which is kind of tied into your customer service. So long story short, the product we initially shipped out was a little low quality because we wanted to have good margin, a lot better margin rather. So the quality was shit, and we could have faced 20 million chargebacks and stuff, but we had our customer service kind of come in and be like, hey, we'll give you partial refunds, we'll do all these things. Kind of like the Go Green initiative I talked about in the last video. And that basically would have taken my chargeback percentage from what it could have been like, 5 to 10%. It brought it all the way down to literally less than 1%. That's what makes a huge, huge impact, having a proper customer service team. And this is what these fucking gurus won't tell you. Because let's say you have a 5 to 10% chargeback. This could literally be, let's say we're doing $2 million a month. This could literally be $200K in profit gone down the drain. $200K in profit lost in chargebacks. But because we have customer service coming in, offering partial refunds, offering replacements, calming them down, because we had those hires, our chargeback percentage is less than 1%. And that basically saved us $200K in lost profits. And as well, obviously we're not selling a shit product now, so we spent the time to improve the product, we spent the time to make sure the quality is good, we took a hit on those margins, and as we're developing a better product, right, we're making customers wait a little bit longer for higher quality product. If we didn't have this customer service team, they would have charged back. They'd be like, hey, where's my order, what the fuck? But because we have these VAs who are like educating them, saying, hey, it might be delayed for a week or two, but we have a higher quality product coming out, they won't charge back, which will contribute to a lesser chargeback percentage. So anything your business might face, whether it's product quality issues, shipping delay issues, or even just preventing refunds and chargebacks, your customer service is pivotal to make sure that your chargebacks don't go 5 to 10%, whether it may be because of returns, delayed shipping, product quality. So another thing that's really important to this brand was actually testing beyond just ads and stuff like that. So the second you guys start to hit 1K days, you need to test all three of these things. So the first thing that we did is pre-landers. So this is going to be your listicles, your advertorials, and this is basically going to educate your customer more, which is going to bring your CVR percentage up, which is going to bring you way more money. So if you're wondering what that is, let me just pull it up real quick. But listicles and advertorials are basically just a page before the actual product page where it basically educates your customer. So as you can see here, this is a listicle. It's just 3 reasons, 5 reasons, whatever. It basically just gives them reasons to buy the product, and they click shop now right here, and they go to the actual product page. Advertorials, like I mentioned earlier, it's the same thing, just educates them before they don't buy on this page. Once they're educated, they click shop now and they go and purchase. It might seem a little counterintuitive because, like, oh, people on Meta are impulse buying. They're not going to read all that. Trust me, they will. If they want to buy, they'll read it, and it's going to help you bring your CVR up. A lot of the times for pre-lenders, you'll see like it'll work. I think for most products, it's worth testing. Whether it'll impact it or not, we don't know. But for every product, honestly, I think it's always worth it to test one of these things, whether it's a listicle or advertorial, just because it can improve your conversion rate. And if it does, you're going to make a shit ton more money. Think about it this way. If you're spending $1 million a month on ads, you're bringing so much traffic. If your conversion rate just goes up like 0.5%, that's literally 0.5% out of those million people that buy more, which could literally mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue that are generated. So next thing we tested is price. So let's say arbitrary number, we're selling it at $49.99. You're probably thinking like, okay, like this is working, why change it? I'm not telling you guys to change it. What you're gonna do is instead of $49.99, I like to do like $10 increments, depending on the price, of course. Like if I'm selling a higher AOV product, I'll just do a $10 increment. If I'm selling a product that's like $30, I might do like a $5 increment and test $34.99 first. But let's say I'm doing a $50 product and the perceived value is pretty high. If this is working, what I'll do is I'll basically dupe the product page. I'll duplicate the product page and make the exact same product, but price it at $59.99. What I'll do with this duplicated product page is I'll basically take my top ads and make a new campaign. I'm going to make a new campaign and put my top ads in there and just send them to the $59.99 page. And I'm going to see how it performs. And I'll typically let it run for like 3 to 4 days. And by then I'll kind of see like, hey, is it working? Is it not working? And if it's working, then I'll actually end up just scaling this as its own campaign. You don't want to be price testing by just changing your original price on your original product page and just making it $59.99. That's too much of a change. You don't know if it's going to work or not. So rather than doing that, you're just going to make a new page with the exact same product page, but just make the price $59.99, and you're going to let your original campaign run while you have a new campaign running that redirects to this $59.99 link. We were honestly able to stretch our product like a $30 jump, and we sustained it for a little bit of time, honestly, and it brought us a lot of extra profit on the back end. Next thing we tested as well are upsells. So this could be post-purchase, or even in-cart upsells as well. You're going to be doing both of these. And this is just going to contribute to your AOV and just bring it up, your average order value. These are going to be things that are, go along with the product. They could be multiple of the product. So these are going to be things that are complementary to your product, right? So let's say I'm selling the vibration plate. In the cart, I might sell like sweatbands or something, kind of cheaper products that you're just like, you know what, I'll add. You don't want to be selling really expensive in-cart upsells. Things that make sense with your product, maybe like a sweat belt or something. Really kind of impulse things that are cheap, that are like, fuck it, you know what, might as well try it. Even like warranties as well. Ran out of space. Warranties. These are examples of in-cart upsells you can do. You can use like ChatGPT or Amazon to come up with in-cart upsells. For post-purchase, same thing. You can do the same exact thing, or you can do multiple of the product. You can offer your product again at another discount, and this is what worked really, really well for me. You can sell quantity breaks at the post-purchase. So we would literally offer like an extra product at like a 30% discount, and then when they bought that, they would get offered another one at like a 50% discount, and they just get impulse bought over and over again. They'd be like, you know what, let me buy one for 30% off. Oh, wait, they offer another one for 50% off now? Let me buy it again. And they end up buying like 4 more extra of my product, which is just so stupid. It's just funny to me. But you can do this through like Shopify apps. So for in-cart, you can use some app called like iCart, HS Cart. These are good apps. For post-purchase, you could literally use AfterSell, any of those apps. Super simple. Very simple, guys. These are all things you test as you're scaling up. Okay, so the last thing we did with this brand is we went omni-channel. The second we started doing 10 to 20K days consistently, we literally immediately implemented Google, Snapchat, all this stuff. So it's really important not to just stay on one channel. If you're only focused on Meta and your brand is only on Meta, again, as you're scaling, then you're cooked. Because Meta is going to have off days. You might have some creative fatigue where nothing's hitting. You want to have kind of extra reserves that are helping you keep that ROAS up. So Google, Snapchat, all that stuff. So I would say next after Meta, we immediately went to Google. That's probably one of the best platforms you can go to after Meta. Google's super consistent. You want to just hand it off to an agency or somebody in-house to do it. You don't want to be running your Google ads yourself. But again, you don't want to move to these platforms unless your Meta is good. So first, focus on your Meta. Once that's good, you can start switching down to this. And then after you got Google up, we switched to Snapchat, TikTok, App11. This is just like phone advertising for like phone apps and stuff. These are all other good channels you can switch to, so that if your Meta is kind of shit, you have these ones coming in to help this out and keep the ROAS up overall for the brand. So super brief, but I just want to talk about that real briefly just because it's really, really important. always have this in mind. If you guys have a brand, make sure you're running on other platforms as well, because you could literally add an extra multiple 6 figures monthly to your brand. So that's kind of the story of this brand, and kind of what are the key things that I did to build out the systems to make sure the brand just didn't die out after it did its first million. And this is how we're able to maintain $2 million a month. I know this video was all over the place and stuff. I like to keep my videos super raw. I didn't even script it. I was just speaking from whatever came to my head. But I hope you guys find the value in this. I do not like the super professional, like super edited videos. I personally found it really easy to learn when it was just like a friend speaking to you, super unscripted, super raw. So that's my goal with these videos. If you guys don't understand, just rewatch it. If you guys are missing out on certain aspects, like, oh, how to set up your campaign, you know, talk a little bit more about product research, just check out my other videos. I have a bunch there. I'm going to be recording a lot more and uploading a lot more educational content, and it's going to be super unfiltered, straight to the point like this. So if you guys like these style of videos where it's just super unscripted, super fast paced, just let me know. And again, also as well, I do have one-on-one coaching in the description if you guys want to check that out. If not, all good. But besides that, I'll see you guys in the next video, and keep on scaling. Peace.